Welcome back. Let's talk about how to avoid the most common mistakes and blunders men make when their wives take off their wedding rings. There's three main things I want to tell you about in this video, three main mistakes that I'd like to help you avoid. The first is adding more pressure to an already pressurized situation. The second is assuming the worst about why your wife took her wedding ring off. And the third is being heavy-handed. Now the first one, pressure. In the videos that you've gone through already, hopefully by now you have a pretty good understanding of the role pressure plays in both the in the life that your wife is living, but also the role it has played in undermining the relationship and causing some stress and some distance with each other. So if you add more pressure as a man by showing up saying, when's this going to get better? When are you going to put your ring on? How come you didn't wear your ring today? All of that extra pressure just puts your face on the enemy list, the list of what is causing her pain and frustration and anguish in life. And so don't make the mistake of adding more pressure by having more expectations, more questions you need her to answer. Don't have long, drawn out, determine the relationship conversations where you're asking her to tell you about your future. When's this going to be better? All this stuff. It all sounds like some sort of great thing, like it's a lot of communication, but communication where she needs to provide the answers to all the question, just pressure. So I want you to instead focus on relaxing, realizing today you're okay, you're going to be okay in the future. Certainty isn't available to anyone. And so instead, I want you to start becoming the answer to your own questions instead of asking her to, right? This is going to be one of the ways you learn to relieve pressure that you put on her in the relationship. The second thing I talked to you about, assuming the worst. Most men struggle with this, unfortunately. And when I shouldn't say most, a lot of men, when they encounter a woman who's taken the ring off, jump right to the conclusion of these last few videos, these reasons that she's having an affair, that she wants to let people know she's available, that she's looking for hookups, that she's up to no good, all kinds of stuff, right? Now, certainly this is true some of the time, but it's by far in the conversations we have with men, it's generally a minority of men, and it's generally not until all these other things have already happened where she has been very unhappy, that the relationship's not going well, and she's already tried in her mind to rectify that by maybe speaking to you about it, etc. So most of the time, a woman just doesn't pop her ring off because she's cheating and she's going out and she wants to hook up. But this is how an insecure man, especially an immature insecure man, will interpret this experience. He'll say, whoa, she took her ring off, she's dolled up, she's going out, she must be cheating or thinking about cheating. And if he talks to her in that moment and says, it really looks like you're about to cheat on me, and she's not, because women think differently and act differently than men, and if her reasons were all the other stuff we talked to you about, but you went right to assuming the worst, then she is going to be tremendously hurt by that. She's going to say, this guy, in addition to not providing the kind of environment where I can feel loved and seen and heard and appreciated and valued and all this other stuff, he also thinks I'm an adulterer, right? So the last thing you want to add to the mix is a low regard, kind of semi-accusation that maybe she's up to no good. And you can avoid that instead by just assuming the best. Assume the reasons that we list at the top of this page first, meaning assume that she's got some emotional sensitivity that needs to be worked out. Assume that you haven't been showing up maybe as powerfully and strongly as you could in the relationship. Assume that you have some work to do. Assume that she is looking for an escape from pressure, that she is looking to be authentic with her emotions. These are going to be positioning you in a much better place to carry the relationship forward in a healthy and a strong and in a loving way while you're figuring out what's going on. But you'll knock yourself back quite a few chapters if you start with, I think you're up to no good. And so be very, very careful about stepping into those scenarios or accusations or questions unless you have very solid evidence that that's what's going on. Lastly, I talked about being heavy-handed. Anytime we show up with demands for someone else, we are walking in weakness. It sounds like a great idea. A lot of men think that they're being powerful and strong by telling the woman in their life what to do, but you're not. You're not being strong. You're being controlling and manipulative and insecure. And rather than relying on cultivating powerful and really great relationship skills, you're relying on the power of fear to cause someone to stay close to you and in a relationship and with a ring on her finger. Now, if you want to be that way, that's fine. Experience tells us that does not actually produce long-term, deep, intimate, emotionally and physically connected intimacy. Instead, it creates resentment and anger and frustration. So by all means necessary, avoid telling the woman in your life, you've got to put your ring back on your finger. I'm not saying there's never a time to have a conversation about, what you expect in a relationship from each other. But that's not a heavy-handed thing. There's a way to have a conversation about things like mutual commitment and fidelity and, what relationships mean to one another. But if you try to have it in this moment, you're going to cause more pressure, more hurt. You're going to cause fear, misunderstanding, and a host of things you don't want. So those are the 3 areas I want to encourage you to be careful about right now as you go forward. And I want you to continue these next videos where we talk about how you can effectively and powerfully talk to the woman in your life about her wedding ring and know when to do it, when not to do it, and more. I'll see you in that video. Take care.